Brussels. British and European Union leaders said they were nearing a divorce deal, even as divisions within fractious Britain kept them just short of a final bargain in negotiations Monday. The elements of the deal, which would be the most significant step in Britain's exit from the European Union since it filed papers in March, appeared to signal an acknowledgement by British negotiators that they have scant leverage in the negotiation. On issues such as what Britain will pay before exiting, and a special status for Northern Ireland, British leaders were being pushed toward Europe's demands after long vowing otherwise. A bargain would pave the way for London to start negotiating its future trade relationship with the remaining 27 EU nations, but the emerging terms of the agreement raised questions about how British Prime Minister Theresa May would convince her own divided public about the best way forward. On Monday, she was forced to leave a day of Brussels meetings with no deal in hand following sharp objections from political forces back home. She promised consultations in London. Rising alarm in Britain over Russian meddling in Brexit vote. The defeat was a reminder that May is negotiating the exit not just with the Europeans but also within her own party and with Wales, Scotland, Ireland, Northern Ireland and the London mayor. The Brexit bill of up to $65 billion will anger pro-Brexit leaders who want Britain to crash out of the bloc without paying a cent, for example. A floated pledge that Northern Ireland would be kept in regulatory alignment with the EU. To avoid rekindling sectarian violence, there raised immediate questions from pro-EU leaders in Scotland and London who asked why they could not have similar deals. We were narrowing our positions to a huge extent today thanks to the British Prime Minister, said European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker in brief remarks following the inconclusive lunchtime bargaining session. This is not a failure, this is the start of the very last round. I'm very confident that we will reach an agreement in the course of this week. May also tried to put a good face on the talks, which she had to interrupt for phone calls with furious political factions in London. Both sides have been working hard in good faith, May said. I am also confident that we will conclude this positively. If Britain is to move on to negotiating its trade deal with Europe before the end of the year, the divorce bill needs to be approved by the 27 remaining EU leaders at a summit in Brussels that begins December 14, but that first depends on May being able to sell it at home. Following an electoral wipeout in June, she leads a minority government that depends on the support of a tiny but influential Northern Ireland party that on Monday appeared to veto any possibility of a special status for Northern Ireland. Irish leaders want to avoid imposing a hard border to preserve the Good Friday Agreement that quelled decades of violence. Conservatives complain that May bungled election and is now bungling aftermath. May's partner there, Arlene Foster, the head of the Democratic Unionist Party, offered a blunt warning: "We have been very clear.